Welcome to today's explainer. Before they ever bought the mansion, long before the Lambo or the private jet, millionaires actually bought 7 very specific things first. And spoiler alert, absolutely none of them are flashy. We have this collective illusion going around that wealth starts by buying luxury items just to look the part, but we're going to completely shatter that today. Okay, let's dive right into this. There is a massive, massive gap between what you think millionaires buy and what they actually buy. We're talking about the stark contrast between those flashy, depreciating items you see all over your social media feeds versus the unglamorous, downright boring things wealthy people actually acquire first. Stick around because asset number 4 on our list, it's the absolute secret nobody talks about, and it literally changes everything. So why are you buying the wrong stuff? I'm going to challenge you directly right now. If you're broke and wondering why, it is almost certainly because you're spending your hard-earned cash on the wrong side of the equation. Buying the right boring stuff isn't just, good advice. It is the actual literal blueprint to wealth. All right, let's build our wealth pyramid, starting right at the very bottom. Phase 1, the foundation. Look, you cannot build a skyscraper on a swamp. You absolutely have to build a rock-solid defensive base so that when you do make money, you actually keep it. And that brings us to asset number 1, a high-income skill. Now notice I didn't say a traditional college degree. I said a high-income skill. We're talking about things like copywriting, sales, coding, or video editing. Millionaires always invest in their own brains before they invest in anything else. A high-income skill can be sold for $50, $100, or even $500 an hour. And the real beauty of this asset? It can never be repossessed by a bank, it won't crash like a tech stock, and it follows you everywhere you go. So you want your very first asset? You gotta get uncomfortable and get incredibly good at one single thing that pays. Now, asset 2 sounds a little boring, but it's crucial. Kill the payment. We are talking about acquiring a reliable, paid-off vehicle like a used Toyota or Honda, not a lease, and definitely not a 72-month loan on a luxury truck you can't actually afford. A car payment is the single biggest silent wealth killer for the average American today. Millionaires drive used standard cars way more often than you'd guess. So kill the payment, free up your cash flow, and redirect all that money into things that actually grow. We're going to slow it down just a bit for asset number 3, an emergency fund. That means 3 to 6 months of your living expenses just sitting there in cash. And yeah, I know, this isn't sexy at all. It won't make you rich. But here's why it is absolutely critical. It protects your downside. It's the asset that keeps you rich once you get there, making sure that one bad month, one layoff, or one random medical emergency doesn't send you all the way back to zero. Millionaires always protect the downside before they chase the upside. All right, let's ramp the energy back up as we move into phase 2, the wealth builders. It's time for proactive ownership. Here is the one I promised you, the one nobody talks about. Asset number 4, ownership. See, employees trade their time for money, while owners make money while they sleep. So the crucial point here is that this is the absolute dividing line between working-class income and generational wealth. If you take away literally anything from this explainer today, let it be this exact concept. It is not about how much you make, it is entirely about what you own. And just to be clear, ownership doesn't necessarily mean you have to go be some tech CEO. It could just mean starting a small side hustle out of your garage, launching an Etsy shop, or even just owning shares of other people's highly successful businesses by investing in the stock market. You simply have to own a piece of the machine. Let's move right along to asset number 5, real estate. And no, you absolutely do not need $500,000 in cash just to start. Even a single, modest rental property or fractional REIT is a real estate triple threat. It appreciates in value over time, it pays you cash flow in the form of rent, and it aggressively fights inflation for you. Sure, it's slow, it's boring, but it's simply one of the most reliable wealth machines in American history. Now we've made it to the top of the pyramid. Phase 3, the invisible multipliers. These are the assets you can't always see or touch, but they're the exact forces that take those foundational assets we just talked about and compound them into massive, unstoppable generational wealth. Asset number 6 might actually be the most valuable one on this entire list. A network of people ahead of you. Millionaires are incredibly intentional about this. They constantly surround themselves with people who are further down the road. Why? Because critical opportunities, game-changing deals, and vital information move through relationships long before they ever hit a Google search bar. The old cliche is 100% true. It's who you know versus what you know. Your next big deal, your next life-changing job, your next major partnership, it is not going to come from a search engine. It's going to come from a person. Who you know still moves exponentially faster and with way more leverage than what you know alone. Which brings us to our final asset, the one single thing every true millionaire has in common: time. In year 1 of compound interest, you're just starting out. But year 10, you're seeing some real growth. But over decades, that is exactly how you hit generational wealth. The secret isn't timing the market. It is time in the market. Compound interest honestly doesn't care how smart you are. It only cares about how long you leave your money alone to work its magic. They say the best day to start investing was 10 years ago, and the second best day is today. There is a massive, massive urgency to this. Every single year you wait to start investing is a year of compounding growth that you can never, ever get back. Time is the ultimate asset, and it's literally ticking away right now. All right, let's do a fast, punchy recap. Here is your unglamorous blueprint to getting rich. 1. High-income skills. 2. A paid-off car. 3. An emergency fund. 4. Ownership. 5. Real estate. 6. Your network. And 7. Time. Notice what isn't on this list. There's no Lambo. There's no private jet. Every single one of these assets was bought before the big money showed up, not after. No hype, no get-rich-quick schemes, just what actually works. That is your reality check for today. True wealth just isn't about the flashy, fake illusions pushed on our social media feeds every single day. It's about disciplined execution over time. Now, if this explainer hit a little different for you today, make sure you follow along, because in part 2, we're going to dive into exactly how millionaires spend differently once they actually have the money. So, I want to leave you with one final provocative question. Which one of these 7 assets are you currently missing? Be honest with yourself. Identify the gap in your foundation and then drop your answer in the comments below. Let's start a conversation, hold each other accountable, and take some action today.